Cześć, 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 witam was wszystkich, tutaj Frodo, witajcie w kolejnym odcinku z naszej przygodówki Tajne Akta 2, Puritas Cordis, czyli Secret Files 2, druga część Tunguski. Zdobyliśmy w ostatnim odcinku wszystkie pionki, raz, dwa, trzy, cztery, tak? Więc słuchajcie, śmiało możemy zejść. Gdzie to było? Tu? Na płaskorzeźbie? Nie, tu były tylko te literki. Chryste Panie, gdzie to było? Tu? A, tu, dobra, mozaika. I teraz chyba, słuchajcie, musimy wcisnąć tutaj. Musimy je tu wcisnąć. Dobra. 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 I...
I inserted all the stones, but I suppose their exact placement makes a difference as well.
Aha, a jakie, że tak spytam? 5 kafelków, pary. W zniszczonej kaplicy znajduje się mozaika, w której brakuje kilku kafelków. Niebieskie kamienie znalezione w ruinach doskonale wypełniają jedno z ubytków, lecz wciąż brakuje 4 elementów. Uczęga stwierdził, że aha, no to dobrze, no to klucz jeden. I tu się, tak? Szachy i mat. Mapa na ścianie oraz towarzyszący jej tekst mogą mieć coś wspólnego z ułożeniem kaflów mozaiki. Figurka przyjazna białemu królowi zapewne też jest biała, zaś figury przeciwne są czarne. A co ma mapa do tego? Czekajcie, jeszcze sprawdzę sobie tą mapę.
Seems to be an old map of what is France these days. There's a legend on the panel next to it. The king was in dire straits.
A, okej.
He had withdrawn to Provence, and the options he had left did not bode well. The peasants were rising to the north, and the reinforcements from the kingdom of Navarre, who had just crossed the border, were forced to go up against a massive fortress to the east. Meanwhile, his opponent sat back and eagerly watched the spectacle unfold from his country estate in Brittany.
Czyli mamy Nawara, Brytania i Prowansja, tak? Jeżeli chodzi o... Jak ja mam to niby nałożyć? A to ja mogę zabierać te kamienie? Aha. Król, to on tu powinien być. No bo tu była ta Prowansja. Tak mi się wydaje, nie? Że to chodzi o... jakby nałożyć tą mapę na tą mozaikę. Kurde. A to? Biały król. Aha, bo tam był też... O Jezus, kochany. Szkoda, że nie ma tutaj tej legendy. Było łatwiej. A tak to za każdym razem muszę wchodzić tu i przeczytać jeszcze raz.
Seems to be an old map of what is France these days. There's a legend on the panel next to it. The king was in dire straits. He had withdrawn to Provence, and the options he had left
Ale
did not
który
bode
król?
well. The peasants were rising to the north, and the reinforcements from the kingdom of Navarre, who had just crossed the border, were forced to go up against a massive fortress to the east. Meanwhile, his opponent sat back and eagerly watched the spectacle unfold from his country estate in Brittany.
Przeciwnik rozsiadł się, a ten drugi król... Czekajcie, jeszcze zobaczę, bo nie wiem, czy to chodzi o tego króla. Że ten przyszedł tu. Biały skoczek, czarna wieża. Nie wiem właśnie, kim są ci... No to tak ciężko... Czarny pionek, czarna wieża. Biały król. Może wydaje, że ten biały król to będzie tak o... Nie ma tam mowy o żadnych jakichś... Na północ. To jest, słuchajcie, trudne.
Seems to be an old map. The king was in dire straits. He had withdrawn to Provence, and the options he had left did not bode well. The peasants were rising to the north, and the reinforcements from the kingdom of Navarre, who had just crossed the border, were forced to go up against a massive fortress to the east. Meanwhile, his opponent sat back and eagerly watched the spectacle unfold from his country estate in Brittany.
No ten król tutaj zwiał. Na północy miał... tylko nie wiem właśnie, czy czarny pionek. Ja nie wiem, jak interpretować każdy z tych pionków. Ten też tutaj się zaszył tu. A, miał jakieś posiłki. Chyba, że ten się przyglądał. Aha, dobra. O Jezu. No było to...
What? A mechanical bridge emerging from the ceiling in a chapel that is 350 years old? Whatever lies behind this door, it must be invaluable. I can only hope and pray that this is Cardinal Coubertin's secret archive. Wow! What a sight!
Biblioteka, słuchajcie, cała. Wow.
Latin. I learned some Latin in school, but not enough to read through a whole archive.
Remember, you've still got me. Just how did you do it?
To cut a long story short, I did really well.
Indeed, but I haven't been idle myself. I managed to obtain some information that should help us find the documents fairly soon. I cannot believe how well preserved these records are. We've got something right here, along with the Puritas Cordis documents that Brother Bernard sent to the Cardinal back in the 17th century. Let me recap what I have found out so far. It seems that Zendona returned from one of his pilgrimages to the Holy Land a changed man. Apparently, he had a vision during this journey. From then on, he was completely obsessed with founding a theocratic state.
Very modest.
Yes, but extremely convincing, as we know. He visited small villages as a preacher of repentance, warning the sinners that the day of judgment was nigh, and uttering dark prophecies.
Which he personally made come true. A reign of terror based on everyone's fear of the apocalypse.
Yes, and remarkably successful. His following grew almost by the hour. Especially in rural areas, people flocked to him in droves. The harbingers of the apocalypse are listed here again. First pestilence and disease, then the punishment of the greedy, followed by war, earthquakes, fire, and a great flood.
We all know that, but what comes next?
The harbingers are supposed to make the rulers of the world gather in the New Babel and hold council. That's where Puritas Cordis is planning to destroy them one and all in order to create a new world order. The sect thinks itself the elite of humanity.
The New Babel. What can that... New York! It could mean New York! Puritas Cordis wants to annihilate the UN General Assembly. We have to call my father. He
will go down, along with the rest of the unworthy ones. We represent the will of God.
Skąd wy wiecie, że my tu
one
byliśmy?
can stop us. Least of all you two. Come along.
Szlak by trafił.
Quick, run! So we meet again, Ms. Kalenkow.
Oh,
You remember me, don't you? The charming barkeeper aboard the Calypso? But enough with the pleasantries. Regrettably, your continued attempts to stop us are about to come to an abrupt end.
No!
Ksiądz się
There
poświęcił.
goes another nuisance. Can we get going now, or would you rather follow your pal? No? All right, let's go then. We are taking a little trip to the countryside.
I've been stuck in this cell for hours, waiting for that Pat Shelton character to come back. Wish I knew what he wants with me, and how Nina is involved in all this. There's got to be some kind of connection to what happened in Indonesia. Okay, let me think. They deliberately caused a volcanic eruption, and I'm a witness. If I follow that thought through, I can't help but suspect they're probably none too eager to let a witness to their evil doings run around free, which tells me this is not going to be a picnic. I'd better get out of here, and fast. The question is, how? I have got to find something to help me escape.
No, to słuchajcie, wracamy do Maksa, bo to on też został porwany. Rozumiem, że, no nie wiemy, co się stało z księdzem. Może tam się jakoś bronił i może jego zrzucił, tego przeciwnika. Zobaczymy. W każdym razie oboje nasi bohaterowie są w pułapce, złapani. Jeśli chodzi o tamtą jeszcze, słuchajcie, zagadkę, no to zrobiłem w sumie też metodą troszkę prób i błędów. No tych dwóch króli, jeden tam był na dole, drugi na górze się przyglądał, więc można było to jakoś obczaić. Tam później te dwie prowincje, tutaj wschód i północ, tylko kombinowałem, no tam nie widzieliście, ja takie troszeczkę cięcie małe zrobiłem, kombinowałem między pionkami, bo nie wiedziałem, który pionek odpowiada za co, nie? No ale udało się. Jabłuszko mamy tu. Purtlach? Dobra.
Do I have to?
Znaczy, no nie musisz.
Well, I guess so.
Nie wiem, do czego miałoby nam potrzebne być to jabłko jeszcze nadgryzione jakieś, słoma.
This stuff is damp and moldy and stinks like crazy. Phew. The smell might be an effective weapon, but I somehow think I'd be the first to pass out.
Okej.
So I'll just leave it there.
Okej, okno.
I can't see any weak spots, no matter how closely I look. The bars are too close together. No way I can squeeze through there.
Krzesełko tu widzę, ale nic nie mogę. No i słuchajcie, tyle, tak? Słoma, okno, drzwi celi.
It may not be stainless steel, but it's pretty effective all the same. This looks extremely solid.
Dobra, mam nadzieję, że piec.
An old iron stove. Doesn't look like it's working though. At least it must have been out of use for ages. If the stove won't come to Max, Max is out of luck.
No to można zbierać śmieci
This is
zabrać?
for picking up trash without having to bend over. Very convenient for old people. Or lazy ones. I would love to oblige, but I don't have extendable arms.
Czyli nici. Habit.
I think the members of the sect wear these hooded robes to hide their ugly faces. That's actually very considerate of them.
Przycisk alarmu, klawiatura numeryczna, drzwi.
Looks like an alarm button. I can't reach it from here. In any case, I think more than one guard will come if the alarm is triggered, and I can't overpower more than one at a time. A number pad for entering codes. How am I supposed to reach that? Yes, I want out. If anybody can tell me how to achieve that, I'm open to suggestions. Now, if I had rubber arms and a suit of blue spandex...
Cały czas mi tutaj docinki daje, że on tu się po prostu nie przeciśnie nigdzie, nie? No, mamy to jabłuszko, nie wiem, czy można by było przeturlać na przykład i to wtedy to spadnie. No to masz jedną szansę, no. No dobrze. Tylko pytanie, do czego nam to, słuchajcie?
Great, it worked. This is for picking up... It's way too sturdy to tip over or destroy with a thin stick. I just need to pull the door off its hinges and...
Dasz radę? Nie wiem, czemu akurat to, no ale dobra, niech będzie. Aha. Dobra, mamy drzwiczki. Ale na co?
Done. Right. All it takes now is opportunity, a firm whack, and fast legs.
Follow me. Pat Shelton wants to see you.
Uh-oh. Tackling two people with my stove door is out of the question. I should wait for a better opportunity.
Aha. Czy chciałby walnąć drzwiczkami kogoś w łeb. Okej. Jesteśmy w jakimś zamku.
I am so glad you could make it. There is something I would like to show you.
Nina!
Max!
Yes, Niny Kalenkow and Max Gruber. I would love to leave you to properly celebrate your reunion, but we haven't got the time, I'm afraid. The reason for our little gathering is quite simple. There are some things you want to know and some things that I want to know. You claim it is a coincidence that while in two completely different parts of the world, you happen to develop an interest in the very same matter. How can you expect anyone to believe that? That would be highly unlikely, even if you were total strangers. But in your case, and your collaboration with David Correll of the Church Intelligence Service is certainly more than just coincidence. I don't know who you are working for, but you must know more than you have told me. A lot more. And yet, I am sure you do not know everything. So let us make a deal. I will now show you what you want to know. You see, truth is like an eternal flame. You can try to conceal it, try to shade it, but it cannot be extinguished. And the truth has long stopped hiding its ugly face behind the veil of technology and progress. It shows its terrible grimace day by day. 660 children starve to death every hour. Millions of people slave away in horrible, degrading circumstances, while their bosses become richer and fatter all the time. The deserts are expanding, the polar caps are melting, the ozone hole is growing, the climactic catastrophe is at hand! Every day, we do our best to destroy our planet with all the powers at our command. Today alone, another 140 or so animal and plant species have become extinct.
I know, it's terrible. So, can you make this world a better place?
Yes, I can. Zandona was a great prophet. Too great for his time. His vision could not be brought to life in the 17th century. Today, things are different.
Vision? Zandona never had any visions. He was just a very sick man who wanted to destroy the world.
Destroy? How blind you are! He never wanted to destroy the world! He only wished to root out the evil that is responsible for all the destruction in our world! I will show you. This is La Palma, one of the Canary Islands, a paradise for sun-loving tourists. For us, the island holds quite another fascination, the Cumbre Vieja volcano. The brittle western slope of the volcano is covered in clefts and fissures where water has collected. And now for the interesting part. By placing several bombs in carefully calculated spots, we can use thermonuclear explosions to heat that water so that it will evaporate instantaneously. If you had paid attention in your physics classes, you would know that such a sudden evaporation of water would create sufficient pressure to shatter the volcano's brittle slope and send it crashing into the sea. Can you guess what comes next? That's right, a tsunami. Waves 200 meters high will charge across the Atlantic with the speed of an airplane. The tsunami will sweep across the east coast of the United States. New York will disappear in an apocalyptic flood, taking with it the self-proclaimed rulers of the world who are currently squabbling in blind incompetence at the UN headquarters. The resulting vacuum of power will be filled by our followers, some of whom have been biding their time in key positions for decades. They will take control and lead humankind to a new golden age.
O matko, taką masz wizję.
Except for the people on the East Coast. I guess you won't be leading them anywhere.
Haven't you been listening to me? I told you this is about saving the world.
By leaving millions of people to drown? How is that saving them?
I am saving them from their own destructiveness. They would kill each other anyway, sooner or later. But in that case, not just a couple of million people would die, but the basis for our existence on this planet would be permanently destroyed. Don't you see? Those who hold the power in this world are leading us to our doom, day by day. But now, we have a chance of seizing this evil by the root and wiping it out, once and for all. Without its rulers, humankind will be as helpless as a flock of sheep without a shepherd. They will turn to God and to Puritas Cordis, for we are the ones who saw the catastrophe coming and who know how to avert any further disasters.
And nobody suspects that Puritas Cordis caused those disasters in the first place.
It does not befit the sheep to question the will of the shepherd. We will teach people to live devoutly. We will teach them the ways of Zandona, and we will welcome them to the new state of God. They will be led by our support.
All be in that state.
Mine will be the voice that proclaims the will of God.
In other words, you will rule over all the rest. So this is really about power, as always.
Certainly, the power of the Lord. But that's enough of me, enough of us. I have fulfilled my part of the bargain and told you much that you probably did not know. At least, not in so much detail. Now it's your turn to uphold your end. Who are you working for? What do you know? Who else knows it, and how does the Church Intelligence Service mean to prevent the inevitable? We had an agreement! Talk!
Who are we working for? Church Intelligence Service? I don't know what you're talking about, but all that Zandona nonsense seems to have softened your brain. That's the only explanation I can think of.
I will not be made a fool of. Very well. You asked for it. You see the grave over there? It's fresh. All that's missing is a body. So, for the last time, what do you know? Who have you told? And what has the Church Intelligence Service got to do with it?
O matko, czyli ja mam tutaj, słuchajcie, wpływ na to. Nie mogę zapisać. Dobra, możemy powiedzieć wszystko.
All right. I'll tell you what happened.
Not even a 3-year-old would believe that story. I gave you a choice. Alas, you made the wrong decision. If you think this is some kind of game, you are badly mistaken. A totally unnecessary death, brought on by your own foolish stubbornness. I shall give you some time to think about the error of your ways. Maybe you will be a bit more cooperative when we talk again. Take her to the cell.
Oh, what have I done? Max is dead. I should have prevented this. No matter how, I should have prevented it. I was the only one who could have averted this disaster. I could have saved my father. I could have saved Max. Yes, I could have. And what did I actually do? I am responsible for the death of David Corell, who died trying to help me escape. I sealed the fate of Max with a single wrong answer, and my father will be next. And what am I doing? Sitting here in a cell, waiting for it all to end. I hope it will be over soon.
No tak myślałem, chciałem wam o tym powiedzieć, że on miał tą tabliczkę z pieca i podejrzewam, że jaką byśmy odpowiedź nie dali i tak by strzelił, czy byśmy powiedzieli prawdę, czy byśmy nic nie powiedzieli albo skłamali.
Everyone should have their own stove door. It's a good thing I carry all kinds of
Czy
stuff.
zadziałała jak taka kamizelka kuloodporna, nie? No dobrze, grób.
I was supposed to be buried there. I never dreamed that I would someday be looking down at my own grave. I'm glad I'm out of there. Even if it were the last hiding place on Earth, not even an army could make me climb back in. A vase made of plastic.
To bierz, bo pewnie się przyda. Grób psa, okej. No tak, bo jest Buda.
The gravestone bears the name Fifi. So this is where the dog is buried. Even dogs have a right to rest in peace. The charred remains of a doghouse. It's just a ruin, but even so, it is too bulky to carry around with me.
Okej. No ale warto zobaczyć przejście, ale tutaj tak, szpadel. Co? A, szpadel.
Okay, let's say spade.
Zabieramy, okej. I tu jest też przejście, piwniczne okno. Słuchajcie, zapiszę może, bo mi się coś skrzaczy będzie. Można z Niną.
There's nothing to see except solid bars.
Aha, myślałem, że tu Nina siedzi, okej.
There's no way I can squeeze through there. I'm far too muscular.
No dobra. Skoro tak mówisz...
I don't want to dig any deeper, and I don't want to fill it in. All I want to do is put as much distance between me and my own grave as possible. Even dogs have a right to rest in peace. If I start whacking away at the doghouse just like that, it will make a lot of noise. And if someone hears me, then they'll start whacking away at me.
Dobra. Słuchajcie, no tu chyba nie ma nic. No to będę musiał, nie wiem, tu przejście?
From that position,
Aha.
the guard can not only watch the prison, but also has a perfect view of the inner courtyard too. Not the best conditions for getting out of here alive. This leads to the cellar. The thermometer is displaying 19 degrees Celsius. Guess I'm shivering because of nerves rather than temperature then. The thing is fixed to the wall with brackets.
Okej.
The guard will spot me if I enter the inner courtyard, and I'd rather not imagine what that would lead to. The guard will spot me.
Dobra. To się powtarza. No musimy się tego strażnika, słuchajcie,
A
pozbyć.
wooden bench. There are carvings on it, but I can't make them out from here.
Może to się przyda, ten napis.
The guard will spot me.
Dziki czosnek.
Time for an educational tidbit. Wild garlic is one of the first plants that bears feed on when they come out of hibernation, and is therefore also known as Allium ursinum, or bear's garlic. It is used for seasoning. End of lecture. If I were looking for the perfect example of an evil mastermind's dim-witted henchman,
Okej.
I'd say I've found him.
Może go łopatą zdzielić.
If I'm too slow, he'll realize what I'm up to. If I don't hit him hard enough, he'll cry out. Either way, I'm done for. I had better look for another solution.
Dobra. Dobra, tutaj chyba, słuchajcie, nic. A to przejście. Aha. Okno. Może...
Well, hello.
O, Nina.
You're not mourning my death.
Max!
Cicho.
Max, you're alive!
Jezu.
Shh, not so loud. Otherwise, that might change pretty quickly.
Max, you have no idea how glad I am to see you.
Who would have thought I'd ever hear you say that? Ms. Kalenkow, you amaze me.
Of course. You don't have any witnesses.
Never mind. If seeing me return from the dead makes you this happy, Maybe I should do it more often.
Just as crazy as ever, I see.
Would you really want that to change?
No, not really. But how come you're still alive?
I'll explain later. For now, let's concentrate on finding a way out of here.
Agreed. Do you have a plan?
No, not yet. You know me. But we'll think of something.
Okay, but be quick about it. Pat Shelton might come back at any minute. By the way, in case I haven't mentioned it yet, I'm glad you're still alive.
I just love hearing you say that.
Okej. Nina, Max. Rozumiem, że... Aha, ja mogę się tutaj przenieść poprzez chyba znowu osoby. No ale...
My stay in Paris wasn't so bad, but will I ever get out of here alive? I think I'm going to call the guard. Hello?
What's up? Why are you yelling like that?
Would you mind telling me why you're keeping me prisoner here? What do you want with me?
That's none of your business.
Now look, I do think I have a right to know why I'm locked away in this cell.
I don't know and I don't care.
What? You don't know either?
No, and I don't need to. All I know is you're not allowed to leave here. And it's my job to keep an eye on you. That's enough. Anything else?
Don't you even care why innocent people are being imprisoned here?
No. I care about how Tom Tomsk played. That's all.
Tom-toms? Are you learning to play the drums then?
Huh? Tom Tomsk is my local club. Perhaps not Russia's most successful soccer team, but undoubtedly the best.
People are being held here against their will and all you care about is soccer?
Yes. Anything else?
These restraints hurt a lot. Could you please untie me?
Are you yanking my chain?
No. Why?
If I untie you, you're going to run away.
How would I do that? I'm still locked up in this cell. And I wouldn't stand a chance against a strong guy like you.
That's true.
Well?
No, I can't. The boss would kill me on the spot.
I'm freezing. In fact, I fully expect to die of exposure in just a few minutes.
Tough luck. The stove hasn't been working for years.
I somehow don't think your boss will be very happy when he comes back and finds his informant frozen to death.
Stop whining already. It's not all that cold in here.
Oh, sure. You can keep warm by moving around. I don't have that option for obvious reasons.
I am totally convinced that you're just trying to annoy me. But fine. I'll have a look at the thermometer.
I teraz moglibyśmy się przenieść na Maxa i...
I thought so. It's almost 20 degrees in here. You're nothing but a pathetic crybaby.
Fine, so I'm a crybaby. Can I have something to warm me up anyway?
No. Russians never feel cold when it is this warm.
I'm hungry.
And I'm thirsty.
Yes, but unlike me, you can go and get yourself a drink. When I get hungry, I have to rely on you to bring me some food.
That's just too bad.
Starving prisoners constitutes torture, and that's against the Geneva Convention.
Geneva what?
The Geneva Convention. You know, human rights and all that.
Never heard of it, and not interested either.
You don't have to be. All you have to be interested in is the fact that I'm hungry.
You're getting on my nerves.
I know. Do I get to eat now?
No!
That will do for now. Go ahead. Leave me to my misery.
As you say.
Kurde, nie pogadamy.
Since I happen to be tied up, I would have a hard time doing that. The door has come off. Nothing but decay and destruction here. A simple robe made of coarse fabric. Since I happen to... This button probably triggers the alarm. An electronic combination lock. That's the way to freedom. But there's still a guard between me and freedom, not to mention a few iron bars and the ties that bind me.
Nie mogę się... A to?
Ugh, that stuff smells horrible, but at least the little critters in there are keeping me company. Since I happen to be tied up, iron bars everywhere. I really hope Max will think of something before that Pat Shelton returns.
Tutaj, słuchajcie, nic nie mogę zrobić. Mogę się tylko przenieść na Maxa.
No time to talk. Decisive action is what's needed now. I've got to think of a way to get Nina out of there before Pat Shelton comes back.
No wiem, tylko że czym? Tu nic nie zrobię. Będzie tak na próbę, tylko jeszcze zobaczę, ale... A to? No niekoniecznie. O, czekajcie.
I don't think I can untie her from here. Not with this anyway.
Aha, czyli to odpada. No dobra.
This looks extremely solid. The bars are too close together. I can't see any weak spots, no matter how closely I look.
No tak, ale mogę na przykład... Aha, no właśnie, chciałem jeszcze przetrząsnąć tu, bo tutaj pułapka na myszy, proszę bardzo.
It's one of those nasty contraptions that will kill mice. Looking at the size of that piece of cheese, I'd rather not know what kind of monster-sized mice they're trying to catch here. I can't spring the trap from the outside, and I have no intention of sticking my delicate fingers in there while the mousetrap is set.
To może to?
Yes, this should work. That way I can spring the mousetrap and still keep all my fingers. I rather like that idea. I just saved an innocent little mouse from a gruesome fate and got a big piece of cheese as a reward. The cheese is unstuck, my fingers still whole. With skill and with luck, I have reached my goal. There's a storeroom behind it.
Czy jestem w magazynie, słuchajcie. Książki.
Little Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, 666, the devil's number and its significance in mathematics, the 7 deadly sins, and 150 delicious microwave dishes.
Okej.
A pile of soccer magazines, aptly titled 11 Friends. Soccer tips aren't going to help me now. I might as well leave them here. I haven't got time to sit and read.
Where'd I
An
go?
old shelf. An instant camera. Something of a museum piece in this age of digital photography.
Aparat mogę zabrać. Dobra. Worki.
2 empty sacks.
Też biorę. Okej.
An old shelf.
Telewizorek.
This model was built long before the invention of color television, but at least it's battery operated. Should I turn the television on or take it with me?
Aha, dobra, na razie nie. Czyli mamy tutaj opcję, jeżeli chodzi o telewizorek. Są drzwi. Wieszak na ubrania.
One of those wire contraptions you're given when you buy cheap clothes.
Ale dużo przedmiotów zbieramy. Kurde.
This thing is so old it's not even electric. It still works.
I tu widzę... Game Girl. Game Boy.
A handheld game console.
Dobra, mamy Game Boya.
It actually still works, but there's no game inserted.
Ale pewnie są baterie, co? I to wystarczy. Słuchajcie, ja myślę, że tutaj sobie zakończymy. Mamy bardzo dużo przedmiotów. Znowu będziemy mogli je dziś użyć. No musimy uwolnić Ninę. Zobaczymy, jak mi to pójdzie. Jakoś to poszło dzisiaj. Dziękuję za dzisiaj i no i co? Do następnego, nie? Trzymajcie się, cześć.